What's up, y'all? So, welcome back to the P Studio movie, video, whatever, part 2. And I'm just giving y'all kind of like a rundown of what basically went down amongst this video, movie, whatever you want to call it. But basically, we had some artists come out and speak to us and kind of do like a little panel thing, and it was really dope. Also, hope you guys do not hear any noise in the background. They doing something outside, but yeah, basically, they did that. Then we had like a little jam session. That was a vibe. You guys will see. And I would say towards the end, but not the very end, we had like a very, very deep conversation. Like, it was a topic that was brought about, and everybody had a lot of different things to say. And I believe that you guys will definitely be able to connect with a lot of the things that was said. And towards the end, basically, we all got up in groups. Like, everybody got into separate individual groups with, I think, like 4 to 5 people, maybe 6. And we created a short film, which you guys will most likely see that on my Instagram, Ants Art Zone, after this video or part 3 of my little P Studio series. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the movie. And yeah.
Started adding some instruments and special effects to his DJing sets in South Florida, and 2 decades later, the group that evolved around these experiments, the Spam All-Stars, developed into a group of musicians that at one point was performing an average.
But I happened, and I think in high school is probably when I knew maybe that I would want to be an artist forever. And I feel a little bit like a sellout artist because I've worked in museums to make a living my whole entire life for 29 years, and a lot of my friends that I went to my BFA in New World with are professional full-time artists. They stuck it through, worked at Home Depot in order to survive, and now like Adelaide Barriere and Baxi Baxter and Michael Vasquez are all artists that were my contemporaries, and they're full-time artists now, and I'm not. I work at museums and do my art when I can.
First memories of wanting to be an artist, I must have been, 5 years old when I would fantasize about performing in front of the school. It was usually actually singing a song. I think I wanted to be a musician more than anything else. But these fantasies, they were just fantasies, right? They were never supported by anyone or anything, especially society, parents, the list goes on, as a lot of you already know. So that dream was pretty much drowned out, including by my quote-unquote best friends, actually. They kind of told me I had no rhythm. However, they were wrong. They were absolutely wrong. But I believed all these messages were not my best due to lack of mentorship, guidance. I was really raised by the streets. So definitely I wasn't thinking about being an artist. However, I still had those fantasies. I remember being an adolescent singing salsa in front of my mirror, right? Seeing crowds of people, right?
Each of you is unique and has something very unique to say to us, and whatever your medium is, trust that. Trust and believe that. And some days you'll trust it less. Some days there are days where it just is kind of, you feel like you've had enough, you can go on, but trust. And this is like as Theo said, it's not the Amazing Race. It's a long haul. It's a lifetime endeavor. Yeah. It's a soul enriching endeavor. And there's something, and I believe we're surrounded by this altar and by these beautiful mystic voodoo paintings. I think there's something deeply, deeply spiritual about art. Because sometimes we produce something, I'm like, where did that come from? I don't know. And I think we're vessels for whatever's coming through. Trust that and accept that and respect and honor that.
That is a huge challenge in this city, rent and buying property. And it's also challenging in Los Angeles and New York. So keep that in mind. So the struggle is going to be wherever if you decide to go somewhere. And I, I always encourage people to, if they feel the call to go to LA, to go to New York or any other city, Chicago, that they feel may be more supportive of their work. That being said, I made a conscious decision to stay here. Like I said, I grew up here, and yes, as a young artist, I thought briefly about moving to New York or LA, but there was always something that kept me here. One is the quality of life. So we got to look at the quality of life that we have here. We're basically living in the Caribbean. Yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful city in that aspect, and we have these two major challenges: this encroaching fascism, as well as these high rents and property values. So no matter where you go, you're going to have to build community with your fellow artists. An example is, I'm so happy that you have seen my show. Not only that, but I've worked, how many soundtracks to my shows have you done? 3 or 4. I work with Andrew all the time. Building community is vital. Is vital to our survival, right? Because we come together. First and foremost, if you think you're an individual separate from everyone else, you're mistaken. You are not. You are not. This is not you against the world. You are fully dependent on everything and everybody around you. From the sunshine to the water you drink, you cannot exist. You cannot coexist without it. And as a community of young artists, build those movements, right? Create that theater company with like-minded folks. Create a new movement in visual arts, as has been throughout history. Know that you can depend on each other and help each other out. This is not The Amazing Race or Survival of the, what's it, Survival Island, whatever. Naked and Afraid. Right? This is not that. This is us helping each other, supporting each other as a community. And don't think that someone else's success makes you less. Don't think that. Be joyous and happy for the success of others, because what you put out there is real and it does come back. This is not some ethereal concept. It is actually cause and effect.
This is the key that I want to say.
I think got his paper in his book. Paper in his
I just got to know over lunch that you're like a walking archive of some of the most incredible musical moments.
Call me old.
Experience, didn't you say? But anyway, y'all.
Season.
Vintage. This is AJ Hill.
They put it.
One day your ass is gonna have fucking one of those. Trust.
Yeah, I hope so.
I believe so.
Not the one where the type C. I feel like I just opened my yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah, good. We're going to dancing, bro.
You guys have skills? Bring out your skills fast. Your chalk or whatever you do. I don't know how to like interpretive dance, so I don't care.
Was it there?
Who can clap their hands? All right, try it. We had F to C chord like this. F, one, two, three, four, one. Let's see what else we have. What can we add? Let's add some. How about, let me pass out these rhythm sticks.
Yes. And if I was a child, I would put these in my mouth and act like I was a what do they call it? You've seen Tusk? Have you ever seen Tusk? I don't know if I'm losing rhythm.
know, if they're making a point, let them finish, they'll get up. Usually it's good to don't pick somebody to take out that hasn't gotten a word in, like they've just been sitting there silently. If somebody contributed and you want someone to share, you come and you say, all right, Sophia, Sophia, get up. Sophia's not out yet. Just give a little space, we're gonna put some snacks in there. Mark back. Passionate opinions both ways, but y'all stay quiet, but stay ready to jump in. Tap people out, jump in. As I said, be sensitive to who hasn't gotten a chance to share and who's already contributed. Those are the people you want to tap out. All right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Questions? No? Yeah.
Are we like speaking
Yes.
Maybe somebody
Thank you for clarifying that. We're not acting. This is it. Imagine this. This is at like Quinta y Cafe, or like you're at the coffee shop that you'll be at a couple. The reason why we did that first is just as you experience polyrhythm as possible. We don't have to, harmony's not the only, like we don't have to cohere into a single sound. And in this conversation, we don't have to cohere into a single opinion on shit. We can layer different rhythms and different opinions and actually hold all of that sound inside the space together with respect and grace and patience, and be like, whoa, so interesting. I see it, I have a different perspective on that. It's all good. All right, here's my question for y'all. All right, it's inspired by a weird event or a juxtaposition that I heard the other day in a coffee shop, where I was talking to somebody and they were going on about, because of the proliferation of more development programs, a lot more Miami's sort of rise and kind of a little more visibility. They're like, it's a great time to be a rising artist in Miami. And then later on that same day, I overheard somebody being like, we're all fucks.
Yeah.
Who's right? Thank you, AJ. Which one of those opinions is right from your perspective?
I think it is a great time to be an artist, but only because of the changes that have been made because of the pandemic, whether performative or not. I'm gonna be honest. We are part of right now of a collective that was organized for BIPOC writers. That happened because during the pandemic there was a movement about theater being very white. There are certain aspects of this program that I think are performative. I'm gonna be really honest. There are certain aspects where it's contradictory, where it's like we want to uplift your voice, but this doesn't work for our audience who's very white and very old. So can you switch it? And it doesn't matter that like right now the terms aren't the best. What I think matters is that it's a step in the right direction. If you would ask when I graduated high school, I would have said yes, we're fine. Because I think I thought that I had failed as a person and as an artist because I stayed in Miami and because I went to FIU. I said, oh my God, I am never leaving. But I think as time went on, I realized if I am not grateful for the small steps we're taking, then I'm going to fuck someone over to get behind me if I'm not using this opportunity, whether performative or not, to pave a road and put in a foundation so that the next artist that comes behind me has a much better footing and a much better time than I do. We have a responsibility. And if we're not grateful for if we spend all of our time complaining of the things that are not working, we're not going to be able to build the proper foundation for the artists that come
I kind of thought about that when you asked the question in a different way, in terms of like where is a country at a moment in time, where is society at a moment in time. When has there ever not been a societal crisis, a national crisis? We keep saying times are unprecedented, it's unprecedented, but it's not. We just didn't have a recording of it because we didn't have the internet or cell phones to keep track. And so now that we're keeping track of things, we have this doom mentality because we're so hyper aware of what's going on in everybody's different societies and in their communities. But that's not new. Humanity has been around for so long. The crises that are happening in our world is not new to humanity at all. It's just we are very aware of it. So I think as artists, it's our job to figure out how we respond to that. But the doom mentality is just like a temporary, fresh take on the reality that there has always been a crisis that we are constantly responding to, and there always will be. And so artists always find a way to respond to that in different ways.
And on that, I think, I think historically, like there's always something going on in humanity. There's always something to fight for. There's momentum throughout history. And I think art has always been the example, always being there, like during revolution. Art is always like revolutionizing, continuing to be that like the candlestick that lights the revolution, the candlesticks that keeps momentum going for humanity and keeps like thriving for, like a better place and equality for everyone, and like trying to minimize all those dooming things that we have impending on us all the time. So I think it's okay to acknowledge like this feeling of like, okay, we're fucked, but like once we can acknowledge it, let's just like keep moving forward and keep like why else then are we here? Why else then are we gonna make art but to continue to just strive to build on like what our ancestors have built, to continue building on what they've given us and just keep the dialogue going. So I think it's okay to acknowledge like, okay, yeah, this, but like I'm not gonna let that stop me. Honestly, I was thinking about Miss King yesterday, how she was saying like like the world can really weigh down on you, but like let's observe the world and let's create something of it without breaking down our spirit.
I want to play like devil's advocate for a second. TikTok now, and it's like a lot more trend culture. So like you'll see like Steve Lacy, for example, like he like blew up instantly. Like you went to his concerts, nobody knew the lyrics. It's just like it's more like longevity kind of thing. Like, are you going to last? Like you can make it, or will you really last with this whole trend culture we're going? And also there's AI now, which honestly it scares me. I mean, AI can like literally make beats. Like just type like make a beat for me, and then boom, you got something right there. But I also feel like that makes it a great time for us to be able to create, because we need to be more innovative. It's like pushing us to do more than like what our predecessors did. So I feel like if we're able to go and innovate and go beyond what people before us did, we'd be able to have a much longer lasting career, something that's more meaningful. So it's just a matter of us being able to put ourselves out there.
And on the AI stuff, that's like why some of the writer strike is happening, is because like AI is trying to take like jobs away from writers.
Starts happening all in there.
Yeah.
You tap another, somebody tap somebody else.
And just on that AI stuff, like, we just like, but like as a unit, as a writer, like we're all as artists coming together to get that, like to find continue fighting for that.
Yeah, I want to say like right now I'm living in this weird like rich U of M college kid's room for the summer, and there's one other kid who's living there. I barely know him, but we had one conversation. He was like, "Oh, I'm a computer science major," or whatever. I'm like, I never know what that is. I'm like, "Oh, so what is that?" Like, he was like, honestly, he was like, I really like it. He's like, and thankfully there's money there. He's like, I think it's the only way I can change the world, like realistically. And he was like, I was like, oh, like how are you gonna change the world? And he was like, oh, not like positively, like not in a good way.
Oh my God.
He was like, but like AI, like I was like, yeah. And he was like, a lot of times online, all we see is like AI is bad. And he was like, and it is, but also like there's also good things, because like AI helps like create a vaccine, or like there's ways that like AI can help like with different sort of medicine stuff. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like I never knew that about AI. And I was like, I'm very scared of AI because I'm an actor. And I was like, I'm scared that that's gonna happen. And he's like, he just looked at me and he was like, it's already happening. And I was like, dude, I know. And it's just kind of like, it is like, I read this very intense article about AI, and it was very much so like being like, humanity has never been at this place before. Like, I understand the argument of like, there has always been something going on, and like, but humanity has never been in this place before, like with kind of like this other species. That's what it is. It has like DNA, guys. taking over. And I read this very intense article about like the writer's strike and about how like actors are gonna get on board with that too, and models, because they could just copy your face and everything. And it's also in the name of diversity. They're like, let's get like a fat, black, trans, model, and it's like not even a real person, guys. Like, it's very scary. So it's like, I read that article, I was sobbing. Like, I was like, this feels so evil, this feels so dark. Like, Elon Musk is trying to get... What?
Terminator 2 type shit.
Yeah, like, I'm like, Elon Musk is like leaving Earth for a reason, but I am. And so it's like, but I am also, and like, I'll end with this, like I think right now, I just finished this play Grace at the Art, hashtag Grace at the Art Center, and I feel like the message of that play is all about like the internet, and it's all about like social media and how it separates us way more than it brings us together. Especially even like, I'm trans, I'm gay, whatever, but even like identity politics, like it's separating us so much, and like we're just reading people's Insta bios and we're not having like in real time conversation, and it's like that's the only thing that's gonna actually change stuff, because it's like I could be online and be like, stop AI, but it's like I didn't have the guts to tell my roommate in that moment. I didn't have the guts to be like, yeah, how do you feel about that? Like knowing you're gonna change the world but not for better. Like, how do you go to sleep? Like I didn't have the balls to say that in real time, but it's like I'll post about it on my story, and it's like that's really not that's how they get us, that's how they win. So I don't know, I think that's the only thing that feels real to me. And sorry, now I'm rambling, but I think about this all the time, even like with music, even like what we just did, guys, like we were all jamming, this was like all in real time instruments, and it's like all this new stuff. Like, I don't know if you saw, but when we were all saying like the names of artists now, like he kind of was like rolling his eyes, and I was like, yeah, for good reason. I was like, music sucks now. It's all like fucking like electronic, like fake ass, fucking, it's all surface ass shit, and no one's like, I just feel like everyone's too scared to like dive deep, and that's like the only way that we're gonna be okay. Anyways, rant over.
I definitely want to add to that, and like also like play devil's advocate in the sense of like just being like when we think about our future, right? Because obviously I've been thinking about the future quite a lot, right? With the introduction of AI, which is like it's true, like we've been having a lot of like humanity crises like through lifetime. That's part of history, that's part of everything, but we are coming through with a whole new species, a whole new with technology. Like I feel like our generation, like I don't want us to like sound old or sound like we're trying to be old or anything, but like we're really in that in between. I feel like a lot of us were young when things were just starting, and now we're like seeing things are. I know we don't like the word unprecedented, but like it literally is. Like things are advancing every single day, and when we go back to the original question of whether we're fucked or not when it comes to like the future of artists and stuff, let's fuck us for a second, right? Because we're gonna get old and we're gonna. If we do something great, if we can stop it in time, that's great. But think about the ones, the 10-year-olds, the 8-year-olds, the ones who are about to be born, and continue. They're being born into this time of technology where they're going to be, where they already are so like disconnected from each other. I have my 8-year-old cousin, and why is she on the iPad talking to random people online already? Oh my god! And like she has like, when I was 8, I wanted to like do music and like dance, and like I was playing outside. I'm not even being facetious. Like I was playing outside, and like. When it comes to the future of art, it's like if we're already so separated, art is us coming together. And if they're already separated already and it's just getting more and more separated, we are fucked. In the sense of maybe not us specifically, but like everyone that's coming after, we constantly kind of have to think about what comes after us, And yeah, no. It's just what comes after us, I think that they're fucked. And we're fucked. In the sense of what are we leaving behind? We have to make sure we leave something behind that is inspiring enough for them to see that what they are going to be born into and what they're going to be coming into doesn't have to be so bleak. But in reality, what they have is we are leaving them with bleakness. We don't care about the earth, so.
Oh, yeah. Copper. I've been seeing emotion that's been on for us. Most of all of us, we all are like very passionate something AI can do. We all cry over our work, we all cry for something AI can do. Something AI can do. We all are happy that we finally created that one thing that we were all thinking about for months. That's something AI can do. It can emulate our smiles, it can emulate all that shit, but I tell you what, it ain't gonna emulate the pain and torture that we went through our life. And what I see will just keep happening in the future when people don't have that art, aka that outlet that they can pour out to their art. When they don't have that outlet, they will put the outcry and everything, all that pain in them, just gonna go to something else. And if we let that go to that something else, it's gonna be worse than what it is right now. What I mean is, look at the crime going on right now. Think about those people who actually committed those crimes and what would have happened if maybe they had found that out early on, at an earlier age. Who knows the type of person that they could have turned into. Like even the inner city kids, I think a while back, like not even think last month, they shut down one of the art theaters, I think in Little Haiti or something like that. Yeah, so they shut that down. So then they always ask that question, damn man, why come the inner city kids, they always resort to violence? Well, have you ever asked the question and thought, well, what if you actually want to open up more art programs?
Right.
What would happen if you open up more outlets for that? For those kids out there? Because I ain't gonna cap, but I got like nephews who people always telling them, just go to school, like, well, how do you know if you actually like arts? How do you know if you actually like drawing or something like that? You never know until you actually delve in. That's the same thing that I had. And all I'm saying is, it's just that like, the artists and stuff like that, once you keep taking away those outlets or to help us like pour that into, when you take that out, it's gonna be a lot worse than what it is now. Yeah, I ain't even get into Mother Nature part.
Our passion, our experiences, our stories, all this stuff, right? So I don't think it's not going to stay. It's not going away, whether we want it to go away or not. But like I was thinking, like it all comes down to like regulations.
Right.
And I'm not talking about the type of regulations that they're doing for like banning these specific books and stuff, which I was reading the bill, and everything is always misspoken. They're saying, oh, we're gonna ban these books, and then people believe, like the schools are like, oh, we have to ban these books and stuff like that. But the bill is supposed to not affect schools and public libraries. But we don't know that because they don't read the bills. And then they start banning the books in schools. But that's not what it was supposed to be. But we don't know that because we're not told these things. So we're fucked, right? But I think like besides those things that are out of our control, we have to, well, me specifically, I love this program because it's for us by us. And I think we have to be the change that we want to see in the world. So if we want those younger generations to be in tune with themselves, to make art, to make the change in the world, we have to be out there. We cannot expect the government to do anything because the government is here, so the government can do shit. We have to put our we have to go out there and be like, listen, I want these children in the art, I want these children connected to themselves, I want the children going out in the land, and I want to take them, and I want to make them walk barefoot and ground themselves. I don't know. Obviously, like your roommate was saying that they can like use AI for the worst, then that's the problem with the people. The problem who are using this for the worst, but we could be using this for the better. Where we could be using these tools that are being created to do whatever we need to do for humanity, but humans are greedy, and we cannot negate that. And I'm a little scared about AI because I'm very emotional on it, but it is something that has advanced so quickly, and I do not think it's any different from us because I feel like we are specific human vessel bodies. We collect information and we understand our emotions and we understand things. And who is to say that in the future AI won't become a thing that understands emotions and whatever experiences? It's really gray. We're like in this gray area at the moment. It's not black or white. It's like, what do we do? I don't think it's like, oh, I hate this. It's more like, it exists. What can we do about it?
Like being able to talk to anyone. And yes, there are like some really bad shit to it. But at the same time,
if someone wanted to go out like in the 80s or 90s and wanted to actually like interact with someone who wasn't within their like, you know, social, racial, or religious circle, they would have to go out, go to a club, go to a store, go to somewhere other place. So I think one thing that is good about social media technology is the fact that we've been able to connect with one another. Regardless of whether AI is going to be here to stay, here to go, I'm telling you right now from my own experience, I have been in those private rooms where people were having private conversations, like not, you know, major CEOs, but CEOs who were like the head of their startup companies who already had multiple locations in like, whether it was somewhere out like, you know, the Midwest or like New York or Miami or wherever. It doesn't matter whether or not how big AI is going to play in our lives 5, 10, 15 years down the line. These people already see it as a way of replacing the artist. One of the things that said, and I quote, yes, like some people are going to lose their jobs and we're probably not going to need the artist, but that's just inevitable. The point is that you have your jobs. And by you, they meant like the CEO. Like the point is, even if your workers lose all their jobs, as long as you have your job and you keep your business afloat, that is what matters. And when I tell you people were like cheering and clapping and acting out, I was like, ooh, you're not supposed to have me in the room, baby. But like, sorry, we went on so many different directions. I'm trying to like pinpoint. I think Auntie Mimi made a very good point yesterday, even though I was kind of just like, in terms of like what, whatever label society puts on you, or like even today when we were talking about like, you have to grow with the world. It's not about, and we have lived our entire lives, like first of all, like majority of us like had our big, you know, we kind of just, you know, had our big like, oh wait a minute, I'm a whole new producer working pretty well during the Great Recession. And it didn't stop there. We had mass shootings that were happening, like as like right after Sandy Hook, they just fucking took off. And then we also had the pandemic, and now we have everything that's following after that. It's one after another after another. Our generation has become so good at becoming adaptable. What I have learned is that adaptability can turn into a defense and a coping mechanism. Right. And if that happens, that becomes the mentality of an entire generation. That is dangerous because it takes years. And like even then, like no matter how much therapy you do or whatever, because now you're talking about hundreds upon thousands of people having to unlearn that. It is not an easy task to do generationally. So yes, it is like right now the millennials are front and center. They're like just getting their foot in the door, like now starting to see their humor in, you know, commercials. Great job. But no, sorry. It's like, no, but like pretty soon, like yeah, like everyone's, you know, making jokes about like how Gen Z act and all that. That's what they were doing with the millennials back in the 2010s, how they're making fun of their, you know, their lingo and their like, you know, avocado toast or whatever, I didn't pay attention. Pretty, like give it 5, 10, maybe 15 years, it's gonna be our turn. And then, how many of you guys would say that like when like you were in school, your teacher was like, oh, like you guys are gonna change the world, you guys are gonna clean up after us. I was like, y'all didn't mention that I was gonna have to fight you. Y'all didn't have to mention that. Like, you didn't mention like what I was going up against. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, like not only when we served it, I ate that shit up. Like look at me, I'm at a catalyst convention thingy. Sorry, I'm just like, the point that I'm trying to make, like, Nina Simone pointed out a very good thing, that it is an artist's duty to tell the times. In our artistry, there's activism, and that it is an artist's choice to reflect the times and situations that we find ourselves in. The majority of this room is queer, BIPOC, and like, you know, femme-presenting women identifying. All of these people, regardless of like, every single person here is coming from like a different background, whether it is our class, our race, religion, whatever. Yes, there are so many labels, but there is still, back to the whole like, is it a good time for a small artist in Miami? I think it is very circumstantial. As someone who has come down here from like that northern, you know, bubble and having to come down here, I thought like once I came down here, like I was gonna get in touch with like my culture and anything. That was not, there was nothing further from the truth. Yeah, so, and coming down here and seeing how like certain spaces have been gatekept, whether it is like, oh, we prefer to have our friends, we prefer to have like our people, it's our race or our, you know, gender or whatever. It is very, I think artists need to continue to adapt, but understand that like at our core, because when I came down here, I was ready to, you know, give my pitch, like, oh, I'm an artist, I do this, this, and this. Because I've become corporate, that's what I've been trained to do since age 5 to, especially the last 5 years, being put into these corporate positions and just climbing that ladder so people can actually take me seriously. Like being trans, being non-binary, being racially mixed, yada yada, whatever. I think at our core we need to remember that we're still A, human beings, B, yes, like every generation has like their, you know, their fair share of hardships. Like Joe's, you know, Biden's like, you know, generation didn't have it easy either. Like they didn't know if they were gonna get drafted for work, like in 2 days or not. But at the same time, we have the connectivity that other generations did not have. Yes, the phones have posed a problem. Yes, social media has been detrimental. But at the same time, we have benefited. Because I'm telling you right now, we would not be sitting here if we didn't have those phones in our pockets. I would not be talking to you. I wouldn't know any of you guys. Hell, I might not even have the opportunities that I have now. But it still poses the issue that there are people who do not have, who like even when the pandemic happened, we had to talk about how families didn't have like access to internet. Some parents were driving their kids to McDonald's just to get some Wi-Fi on like a phone, and some kids don't even have a laptop. I just got my first laptop maybe 2-3 years ago. So yes, it is tough. Yes, we are all coming from a shared background. Our biggest allies at this point need to be each other first. I'm very, the whole like both sides that comes from, ally, yeah, great. But like, pull your resources together, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, get off your ass, and start like talking to one another. This, lockdowns made us very antisocial. A lot of us come with different skill sets and so on and so forth. Some manager or agency is not going to save you. They're going to notice you though when you get that gig that your friend helped you out.
Right.
So I think first of all, the biggest advocate and ally needs to be each other and yourself as well.
About 15 minutes, y'all. On that note, sorry to cut you off, but don't let me start. I have personally a big problem with artists. No offense. Is that they like to, no, in the spaces I've been, like artists a lot of times tend to talk about it, right? But not be about it. And I've made my decision as an artist to make my artistry my activism. I am the first of my family to be born in the United States. I'm the first of my family to graduate college. I'm the first of my family now who's documenting the history of the Maroon people, who are one of the first people to fight for their freedom in the Caribbean and win it from the white people colonizers. Writing that story down and keeping it alive is activism, because those are the stories they don't want in schools. Those are the stories they don't want you to tell each other. So now we sit here after the pandemic, after we've sat there and said all the bullshit the government tries to pull with us, what major corporations pull with us, and then 2-3 years later, everybody's forgotten that drive, those things that brought us out into the streets of Miami-Dade County, where people wanted to run us over in the streets. I danced in those streets with Natalia. That's how we danced together. Yeah, it was her. That's where I met her the first time. Using our art as activism. And when we have that fear, when we're in the room with people who can actually build the world, no offense, we always have to come in contact with our own power. You have to come in contact with what you believe in as a person, and an undeniable fire that burns you so much that if you see bullshit, you burn it away. So we sit here and is it a great time? Is it bad for artists? Is it good for artists? It is what it is, and what you do with it is what you do with it. You need to pick up the shit and throw it back into their faces, because people won't notice you unless you shout at them. They won't respect you unless you take it from them. And they won't see you unless you stand up and make yourself heard and seen. And that's something I learned in acting class, it's something I learned from my own ancestors, it's something I carry with me in every single space. I thank you guys for being the artists that have so far. Every time we had an opportunity, I just jumped up and did it. Because that's what opportunities are for. They're meant to be taken, they're meant to be used, they're meant to be pushed forward the narrative and the goals that we wish to see for ourselves. So it's just saying, oh my God, the times are so hard, rent is so high. Then knock on that.
Good time though.
There's never a good
back and forth. No, you're here and now.
You're here and now. Exactly. Here and now is the time. So if you see that your politicians are pulling bullshit, pull up into their houses and protest against them. Show up. But organize, but these are government officials are supposed to execute the will of the people. If they're not executing the will of the people, then we know what our will is. They're not there for corporate donors. They're not there to line their pockets. They're not there to do insider trading or to run the stock market. They are there as my representatives to make sure the things I want and need for my community are being done. And if they're not doing it, they need to fuck out. Because I'm gonna replace them. Because I'm not saying we're gonna vandalize. I'm not saying that we're gonna, terrorize these people's houses. These jobs, these positions exist for a reason. And if they're being misused and misrepresented and we're just letting it slide, then of course we're gonna backslide into these positions where we're sitting here like, oh my God, how did this happen? Someone said we should have done more. Then do more. We need to get out and do more right now. Because every single time I hear this conversation, personally I've been fighting ever since I moved here to get where I need to go, to get seen, to do the things I need to do. Right now my country is going through this whole thing because they elected a dictator to be our president. And now he stole all of our money and our country's in a recession. Why? Because no one listened to him when they said this man was a dictator. He killed all of our political leaders back in the 90s, right? The people who were educated, the people who had expertise, the people who had education, who wrote books, the artists, the literary.
You're-
I'm gonna take out the purple marker. Do y'all remember that cartoon with someone with the marker? Wasn't that a thing? With the purple marker?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name, but I know what you're talking about. You know the cartoon where the dude pulled out like the magic pen and marker, like he would just draw everything. I think went into another world. I forgot the name though. We are old. So what's happening right now? We just doing graffiti casually.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get arrested. This is hooligan shit.
You also looked at me and smiled. I did the camera in the wrong direction. You didn't show it. I gotta get it.
Another man scared us.
They gonna call the cops at some point.
Yeah, honestly.
Take two.
Keep a straight face. Why are you not acting?
I'm scared. They were scared. Okay.
Oh shit, there is a cop.
Yo, chill.
That was actually good. That good. They gotta. You sure you can't dance? Like. Keep rapping, don't touch me.
See, this is why I love the design district because they kind of lit.
Yeah. You walking fast?
Be like a space that doesn't have more outside. Or we just need to be a bit further from the music. So stand in front of this, you lock this like.
I did not speak out because I was not a socialist.
Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist.
Then they came for the Jewish people, and I did not speak out because I was not Jewish.
And then they came for me.
And there was no one left to speak for me.
Hello, everyone.
I losing this fight? I go through the days pretending everything's alright, but I know that grandmother I forget to call out, she won't be here long. Sometimes I'm at weekend.
News, but the next Shakespeare will be from the hood. Before he gets to us, don't you hurt him before he gets to us. Because I swear he's coming. He is already on the way. And when he gets here, you gonna love him.